All right, boys and girls, it is time for Pregame Party, Divisional Round Tailgate, coming at you right now. And then there were 8. Welcome aboard for NFL Pregame Party. I am your host, Joe's Atmosphere, and we've got 4 to talk about it today. Knock, Matt from Small Time Republic, and John Das Wolfen. How you guys doing this morning? It's good to see you.
Doing good.
Yep, doing good.
Doing good, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to start today's show with the coaching carousel that's going on right now. Of course, all the news this week has been basically about public enemy number 1 in most people's books, the guy that just won't go away, Mr. Championship himself, Bill Belichick. Looks like he's going to end up in your division there, Matt.
Possibly, although the Falcons are interviewing everyone, including some people on this panel. I think it's
right. They are interviewing everyone, but no, come on, man. I mean, you know what's funny to me? This headline right here: Bill Belichick will reportedly have a second interview with the NFC team, and this was 2 days ago. And I'm like, what? I mean, this isn't an interview. You don't interview this guy. This is the guy that kicked your ass when you were up 28 points on him in the Super Bowl.
Bear in mind, he's only been coaching in the NFL since the 1970s, so we don't really know too much about him yet. Jeez. I literally think he started coaching in the NFL.
What kind of culture would you bring here?
Right. What kind of culture are you going to bring?
Do you have any references?
Yeah.
He comes Tom walking Brady in there like Charlie Sheen, right? Winning.
Or actually, he gives them Brady and Robert Kraft as references, but says you may not want to call them.
You may not want to call them. They may not give me a good recommendation.
I did see where Vrabel apparently either has or will interview for that job too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's not surprising. Arthur Blank's pretty good about covering his bases, man. He leaves no stone unturned. I really, if you're a Falcons fan, you cannot complain about your owner. He's committed to winning, and he wants to get his team there. And he lets his football people do the job. That he doesn't get involved. So you really can't get mad at the ownership with that team right there.
Well, I'll say this: if I was an owner, I would tell the league, "Hey, I will be fully compliant with the Rooney Rule, but I am not interviewing Hugh Jackson. That's
right.
The one guy I will not interview.
Mm-hmm.
Still, in my opinion, the worst NFL head coach ever.
You know it, man. You know it. I don't know. Brandon Stokely's pretty close, if you ask me. I'm sorry. You know how much I love that guy.
Romeo
But other things that we're hearing, I know that Vrabel has interviewed with the Chargers, and there's rumors, I don't think any of it's confirmed, that they've talked to Jim Harbaugh too. Now, Jim Harbaugh, however, this is something I think is fucking totally hilarious, boys and girls. Jim Harbaugh, whether it's NCAA or the college game, Michigan's Jim Harbaugh is seeking termination protection in potential new contract amid NCAA probes per this report. Apparently, he wants protection from getting fired from a new job if he gets sanctions against him because of his old job, if he changes venues. That I don't know, man. That just screams I'm guilty.
You want protections in the college contract or the NFL contract?
Both.
Either one.
Either one.
Yeah.
Either one. He wants it in either
Kevin.
one.
You meant both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would think the pro contract, I mean,
that's easy, right? I mean, what is you going to do?
He needs to go to the Chargers. It's in his best interest. It's like when Pete Carroll had the option to stay at USC and possibly get fired there for NCAA stuff.
Right, he bailed. Right, he went to the Seahawks. Yeah.
So Harbaugh needs to pull.
But why would you broadcast the fact that you might? All he's doing is saying, "I'm guilty. Don't fucking penalize me for it." That's what this says.
All Michigan had to do is be a little more smart with the sign stealing stuff. Yeah. I mean, they sent that guy, the Connor Stallion, which I know that's his real name, but it just seems fake. But they sent Connor Stallion,
like a porn name from the fucking 80s or something,
to scout out Central Michigan in a game that Central Michigan had.
Yeah,
because I think it was one of their future opponents. You don't need to scout Central Michigan if you're Michigan, okay?
No.
In terms of, you don't need to like break rules when you're scouting against them.
Listen, it was on his way home, and he was like, "Look, I got to go back to home to Michigan. I might as well just stop by here, check it out, potential future,
And he literally threw on a Central Michigan hoodie and stood on the sidelines. That actually happened. Wow. I can't believe he did that. I mean,
that's like just brazen, dude.
Yeah,
come on, man. What are you doing?
He got the M, like keep him covered.
I just think that's hilarious that he wants that. I mean, Sneaky Pete didn't even ask for no shit like that. He's just like, "Look, I'm out, man. Yeah. this house of cards is about to come crumbling down. I'm getting the fuck out while the getting's good."
Also, I know that Jim Harbaugh is not a serial killer, but you could convince me that he is one. Like,
right?
It's based on the way his mannerisms. Like, I don't know. He's just kind of awkward in that way.
Well, the thing that freaked me out the most when he was the head coach at San Francisco, that guy would bitch and moan on every fucking snap of the football. He whined and bitched about every damn thing that happened. And I was like, this is not the guy I watched play in one of the greatest championship games I ever saw. This is not the same guy. That guy would have sucked it up and kept going. You know what I mean?
You mean when he was with like the Colts or the Bears?
Colts, 95.
Yeah.
The team that lost, and he threw one of the best Hail Marys I've ever seen at the end of a game, and the guy had his hands on it. He could have come down with it. Yeah. I mean, and he just dropped it, man. It was an amazing game. If you've never seen the 95 AFC Championship game, it was fantastic. The Steelers went on to lose to the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. And I think it would have been a much better game if Harbaugh had been playing. I
remember watching that game as a kid and thinking, no, I haven't seen a player that wants to win more than he does.
Yeah.
In that game.
Whatever he had to do. And he was getting beat up, too. I mean, he was a gamer. Harbaugh was a gamer. I pulled for him when he was
kind of like, what's his name? Is it Tyler Henke?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Harbaugh cut out of the same kind of cloth. Was never a starter. Always was pulled off the bench and ended up playing. He never was really a number one quarterback. But, man, anybody that watched that championship game in '95 was a Harbaugh fan. Period. If you loved football, you were rooting for that guy because he was taking the shots and delivering the blows. Man, it was great. It was great stuff. But to see that same guy act like a fucking 12-year-old girl on the sideline of a fucking pro football game, it so turned me off of him, man. It really did. I was just shocked at the way he acted when he became a head coach. You know.
Of course, when he was at Stanford, this was early on at Stanford, had one of the greatest upsets in college football history.
Mm-hmm.
They beat USC when they were, I think, a 30-point underdog or 30-plus point underdog. It was something
when
crazy.
Carroll
like
was there, right?
I think it was towards the end of Pete Carroll's time there.
Yeah.
And they beat them, and it was that's what really put Stanford on the map, for the next 5 or 10 years.
Oh man, so much lore, especially when he got to San Francisco behind that, because he basically blackballed Sherman. I mean, had it where a lot of people didn't even want to fucking talk to him. Yeah. It was really strange, man. They had a very contentious relationship, and it really played into the rivalry between the Niners and the Seahawks. But anyway, the guy I really want as my next head coach doesn't. The stuff I'm hearing, I don't know if we're going to get him or not. I want Vrabel. That's who I want up there in Seattle. I think we're tailor-made for him. He's, he likes a good running game. He likes good defense. And we've got, the defense needs fixing. That's why I want him there. But we've got the running game. That component we have, so I'd love to see him come up there. But what I'm seeing and hearing from sources that I trust is that they're going after Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. They want an offensive-minded coach this time around. And then they're going to hire a defensive coordinator for him. Yeah, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for Detroit. That's what I'm hearing. That's who they're targeting. Now, I hope they interview Vrabel, because I'm a big fan. I'd love to see him up there, but I've heard he's interviewed for the Chargers job. So, I mean, but one other thing, your division guys, they're Denver and Kansas City. I know Knock told me he's not happy about it. Antonio Pierce seems to be, he's going to be staying put as the head coach of the Raiders, which does not bode well for that division because he had those boys winning last year, and you give him a full year under his belt, they might be pretty dangerous, I think they've got many pieces they need, but they've got the pass rush. They've got arguably one of the best wide receivers in football. If they can find somebody to get him the ball, then and the running game is pretty decent from what I understand. Is Josh Jacobs still with that team?
I think he was hurt most of the season.
Okay.
He was put on
at least towards the end.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got some pieces there, man. So you put him with a good coach like Pierce. I mean, he's a motivator. So
the only thing you have to be concerned about with motivators is you want to make sure that they don't run out of gas in terms of not themselves, but that the rah-rah stuff sometimes can run kind of thin in the NFL after a while.
Right.
Now, but Pete Carroll's a rah-rah guy, and he was there for 15
Dude,
years.
Nothing but a rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
No doubt. He's the biggest, what do they call him? The oldest teenager in football? Yeah.
And Dan Campbell's a rah-rah guy, and he seems to be doing okay. So it can work, but you got to be careful that you're not, hiring the guy that the players want sometimes works and sometimes
I think it has a lot to do with who your support staff is. And I mean, I watched Hard Knocks a couple of years ago when Campbell first got there, and he had nothing but ex-players as coordinators, nothing but ex-players. And I was like, well, yeah, that's one way to get them to communicate with their players pretty well, because it's all guys that have been on the field doing it. So, I was pretty impressed with that. What was really fun to watch during that season of Hard Knocks was to watch the offensive and defensive coordinators on the sidelines during camp, because all they did was talk shit to each other the whole time. You know what I mean? It was great, man. It was like they were ready to suit up and go out there themselves.
But now, cool. Joe, if the Seahawks do hire Ben Johnson, you got to be mentally prepared for a lot of, he's 37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be prepared for a lot of 2-point conversions in the first quarter.
I know. I know. It's going to drive me absolutely batshit. That's for sure. Another analytics dude.
Punts on your side of the field and punt fakes, I should say.
So funny to me though. Listen, this is so funny. This is the kind of conversations me and Knock have during games. We're watching the Philly Buccaneers game, and he was like, "I don't think field goal is going to do it." I'm like, "Okay, bro." And then I saw Matt come in there with that when they tried the 2-point conversion and didn't get it. He was like, "I just don't understand." I was like, "Yeah, I'm sitting there just waiting for these field goals to start piling up and putting the edge on them, and then all of a sudden, boom, it busts loose." Yeah.
Now, in Philly's defense, they're like 90% on. They get a couple yards or yards. So
they kept saying the Buccaneers were the only team that stopped it. That's horse shit. These guys need to watch a little bit more football. I saw the Washington Commanders do it this last year too. They stopped them on the goal line doing that shit. So the Buccaneers weren't the only ones. But yeah. Anything else about the coaching carousel, guys? I mean, I know who I want. You guys. One other thing about the Saints, they got rid of their long-term offensive coordinator. Guy that's been there since Breeze was there, right?
15 years.
They can have Matt Nagy.
But have you heard anything about who they're thinking about replacing him with, Matt? Have you heard anything about that?
I don't know, but I think this guy was with Breeze even back with the Chargers.
Yeah, so, he did come with him from there. Yeah,
which makes sense why Sean Payton would have hired him at the time, but. Yeah, I don't know. I have not really looked into it a whole lot. Hopefully they'll make a good choice. Now, whoever gets the job needs to realize they may only have the job for 1 year, regardless of how well they do.
Right, because I doubt if they don't compete for that division this year again, I think Allen's going to be out the door for sure.
Yep.
So,
and I want to see the article I read that the Saints were like 14th in the league this year in offense. 14th is not. I mean, you're not bad. You're not automatically firing somebody.
Yeah, the defense suffered this year. That's what shocked me. I mean, they were still getting pressure and everything, but boy, they couldn't stop people in the red zone. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. And whenever I got mad at Jameis for scoring the touchdown or not taking a knee and handing the ball off for the touchdown at the last regular season game, I felt really pissed, to be honest. And I kind of felt a little bit of validation when Shannon Sharp said that he would have cut him for doing that.
Yeah.
And,
it's funny. I did hear a little bit more, and I don't know if that affected your thought process on it, but the whole reason they did it was because what's his name? Williams, the running back who they brought in from the Lions, who got 13 touchdowns, had 0 touchdowns on the year. And that's why they did it, to get him 1 touchdown on the year. So he'd have something, because they fucking brought him in and did nothing with them.
I think if we're talking high school or college, that's okay.
Sure, but this is pros, man.
Yeah, I thought it was Bush League.
It is.
I guess so, but again, don't we always go back to you should have stopped him.
Yeah, you should have stopped him, but
you're getting paid too. So,
dude,
don't we always do that when Belichick?
That game was out of hand, and they weren't coming back.
It was more the fact that they lined up in the
kneel and then faked it.
Yeah,
just wow.
I guess you can't do punt fakes anymore then.
No.
Just saying,
you're just being extreme, dude. You're being extreme.
Devil's advocate. Yes.
Well, I think my brother said it best last week. If there was ever a reason to fire Allen, that's a perfect play to say, hey, look, this guy has no control over his locker room.
Yep.
You need to find somebody else because, if he had control over his players, I guarantee you anybody playing for Belichick wouldn't have done that because he'd been cut the next day. It's ridiculous.
I will say this: if you're Bill Belichick, whether it's the Falcons or wherever, if they tell you, hey, you're 72 years old, we don't want to make you we don't want to give you full control. You have to just accept that.
Yeah. And I think at this point, Bill, I think the whole reason why he's sticking around is to break the Don's record. That's the only reason. That's the only thing left for him to do. I mean, he's already got more Super Bowl rings than any other coach in history. So, that's the only reason why he could be sticking around. I mean, anybody else? Look, Pete. I don't think Pete's going to coach again. I mean, it's obvious he could, but I don't think he's going to. I think he's ready to hang it up. I listened to his last show, and they had a headline out there that said that he fought for his job, and that the Seahawks ownership isn't football people. And I was like, God, guys, can you blow shit out of proportion or what? You listen to the thing. He's explaining how he has to explain every year what went wrong, what went right. It's the postseason thing. And he said, these people are not football people. It's like me trying to explain it to you guys. He's talking about the interviewers that are interviewing him.
Yeah.
He said, they're not football people. They don't understand it,
It's
they take that and run with it like, oh, these football people crushed Pete Carroll, and that's not that. Nothing can be further from the truth. You know what I mean?
Was it Paul Allen's sister or Paul Allen's widow or something?
Yeah,
that's it. So I think it's his sister, but it may be his widow. Mm-hmm. Either way, it's like it's weird how life works. It's like, oh, because I know a guy that knows how to code, I now own a football team.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting how life.
Well, what I like about what he said is Pete's staying in the building because of John Snyder. He is great friends with John Snyder, wants to see him succeed, so he's going to stay and be an advisor to him. That's what he's going to do.
When one of the Duke boys is there, sorry, Duke's a hazard.
Yeah,
John
right.
Snyder.
Good old boy.
I do think it would have been great, like whenever the Alabama athletic director introduced Kalen DeBoer as their new coach, to have, basically, University of Washington, they're in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
For him to get up there on the podium and be like, we just had our head coach flying from Seattle. Here he is. Everybody's expecting Kalen DeBoer to walk out.
Right.
And it's Pete Carroll walks out.
Right. All right, boys and girls, that's enough about the head coaching carousel. But I will tell you now, I hope we get Vrabel. That's who I hope we get. Okay.
I do want to mention real quick, Joe, before we get too far off that. Just a real quick mention that I thought it was funny that Nick Saban retires. So Washington head coach goes to Alabama. Arizona's head coach goes to Washington. And then San Jose's head coach goes to Arizona. So it's
the college carousel is moving along as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I
haven't heard,
which
seen
one
anything.
Missed out on the musical chair so far? What did I hear? San Jose State? Is it without
San Jose? I don't know if they've officially. They're not as big a school, so I don't know how big the news will be. But the Mountain West is one of the group of five. So, so I don't know when we'll hear their head coach. But yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting how the domino effect.
No big names in the portal moving or anything.
I'm sure
Alabama,
there is, but I don't know.
Quarterback in the nation coming out of high school has decommitted from Alabama and is in the portal.
Really?
Yep. He's currently in.
There's only one more portal left, right?
Early enrollee in Alabama in January.
There's only one more portal left, right? Like in May or April or something like that.
When your head coach leaves, you then it opens up an additional 30-day window right then, regardless of when it happens. Okay. It's so confusing.
Okay. I'm still learning all that stuff. Okay.
Interesting.
That and the South Alabama head coach down here, he left a head coaching position here to go be the defensive coordinator at Alabama, Kane Womack, and he's getting paid like 2 or 3 times as much to go be the defensive coordinator there as he was to be head coach in the Sun Belt. Yeah. And he has already been replaced with Major Applewhite, who that name may be familiar.
Oh, yeah, it's familiar to me. Yeah.
Texas quarterback.
Yep.
So he's now the
Major
South Alabama Jaguars head coach.
Yeah, cool. All right, boys and girls. Well, thanks for that. Appreciate it, Knock. Let's see. I think next we should break down last week's games, the wild card games, and let's talk about what happened with them. The first of which, now I didn't get to see Saturday's games, but man, wow, I didn't see this coming at all. I thought for sure Cleveland's defense was going to get on the bus and come to Houston, but apparently they stayed in Cleveland.
I don't even think Texans gave up a sack, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even if they did it, but like one, maybe if that. But
did Myles Garrett get hurt getting off the bus or something?
I think he had been hurt previously,
okay,
before this game, so he was banged up.
Mm-hmm.
But
he gets off the bus and goes, "I'm tired, boss."
Right? What the hell, man?
Like Ving Rhames,
the Flacco son
Duncan and
was toast. Apparently, he threw 2 pick sixes, not one but 2. He got hit on one. I saw the replays. He got hit on one of them, but the other one he had no business throwing. I don't know what the hell he was doing there.
It was funny because they show a video. Those I don't know, when they go back and review them, and they showed D'Amico Ryan saying, "Hey, if you sit on this route right here, it's a pick. It's a pick six right there."
Wow.
And that was the second pick six. Yeah. He was like, just wait, just watch it. Watch the quarterback's eyes. It was a linebacker. The linebacker got the second one.
Yeah, it was the linebacker got the pick six.
So he's like, just watch the quarterback's eyes. And when he throws out to the flat, just pick it off. And that's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
wow.
You can lead the horse to water, and the water, and then the horse drinks the water.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. There's a certain 12-win team that's had 3 12-win seasons that laid another egg as usual. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the plays. The team has to make the plays, no doubt about it. And Houston did. They blew it up. So Houston advanced early Saturday, and then in the nighttime window, John's team showed up and crushed my woman's team effectively. And
the number one streamed game ever in history, ever in any app streaming ever.
What
guys,
a great accomplishment that was, huh?
Fantastic for the NFL.
I think it's the number one streaming anything.
Yeah, anything ever. 12 whole million people.
Maybe that's why they did it. Just to say, hey, we're bigger than everything.
Pretty much, yeah. But it was the least most watched game of all the playoff games.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But we don't talk about that. It was
the
most watched stream game.
It was the most streamed thing ever.
Huge success. Absolutely huge success.
Huge bullshit. It's what it is. NFL.
It took me about a whole quarter to finally find a good stream to
Did you? Because you wouldn't pay for that shit, were you?
No.
Hell no.
Nope.
No. I wouldn't have paid for it either. I'm sure John did, so he could see it. But
yeah, I already had Peacock in the first place.
Yeah. So were you happy with your boys' performance?
Mostly.
Yeah. Okay.
There were some.
You gotta enjoy that defense.
Oh yeah, our defense I'm proud of. Yeah.
And I believe we talked about that last Saturday, how underrated their defense is. Yeah, took care of business there.
L'Jarius Sneed treated Tyreek Hill like a bitch.
Really?
Oh yeah, he was all over him. He was knocking him down, and
although that one touchdown was Hill.
That was Hill, but
he did make the defense look a little silly on that one.
Sneed was out. Sneed was off the field at that point.
Yeah.
Because
he's going to make a play. He's going to make his play. It's containment. It's not stopping. It's containing. So
that was all they got though.
That was it. That was the only play. That was right before the half, and nothing in the second half. So yeah,
the Dolphins
got a lot of they're explosive, but you know what?
They're not physical enough.
No, they're not. They're finesse.
And that's my kind of team. This is my kind of team right here. Yeah. Either we put up 50 points or we get smashed. Our guys get destroyed. So that's my Madden team right there.
Yep, that's his Madden team right there. Absolutely, I can attest to that. I've played enough Madden with him.
I even had Waddle on my team.
As soon as Waddle was available, you had him.
He wasn't in Madden
Waddle before.
Yeah. He wasn't. It was the year before Waddle was actually in the league, but he was in the custom draft things. Yeah. So we did it. We did it a lot. We do a lot of the drafting custom teams, and he was in it. I was like, 98 speed draft.
Yep.
I don't care what his catch is. Nothing else matters. Joe's probably
before Waddle even had a dance. I was hearing Waddle every time he scored. Man, that drove me nuts.
He was so Waddle. Waddle.
Waddle.
I didn't care what his catch was, what his carry was. I mean, I think Joe, when he did manage to hit my guys and hit stick them, they fumbled.
Oh yeah,
but he didn't hit them all the time.
Getting your hands on those fucking
Yeah.
fools is what the hardest thing was, man. They're so goddamn fast. But anyway, I think the image people are going to remember from this game, though, is his helmet exploding on that one hit when he was on that run.
Yeah.
That was a brutally cold game. I mean,
Yep.
if you've got helmets cracking out there, that's cold. And I know they're made out of different material now. They're made for more of a cushion type thing.
Yeah.
But still, that's pretty tough, man.
Did you see the ground?
Like, I'm wondering when they're going to make like little incubation box for them, because you said he put it on, it was like really cold, and it's like, how did they not have that warmed up? Like, you would think for you would have a backup helmet.
I thought they had warmers. Isn't that what they hang them on?
Yeah, but that's for the active helmet, not the backup. The
I don't know if that's for the backup helmet.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. So it's like, if it's your store quarterback's helmet, you think you would have
warm.
it, pristine and,
especially since it's got the radio in it, right? I mean, come on, man. That's a green dot helmet. That thing needs to work.
Did you see the shape that the crack was in?
No.
It's a Grim Reaper.
Really?
You could see the hood, and he's got the scythe up above his head.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Go ahead, pull it up. But those two games I didn't get to see. So Kansas City moved on out of that one. Miami, once again, they had the second seed. All they had to do was beat Buffalo. Just couldn't do it. Another team that got physical with them and pretty much knocked them around. That's the book on them. You knock them around. And what's funny to me is, all year long in the off season, the whole mission was keep Tua on 2 feet. He's the guy that's going to get us there, right?
Yeah, he beat me to
it.
And I was trying to find a good one.
That's all right. He's got it.
There you go. So I'm guessing
sure as shit. Look at that.
Right up there, and it's about
Look
to swing
at that
down
shit.
Yeah.
It's the Grim Reaper coming to get you. That's crazy. Man, get out of here. That's so funny. Cool. But, the whole concentration was getting the ball out of Tua's hands. He had the quickest release this year. He got rid of the ball faster than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But when they ran into physical teams, when he had to hold it for a second, things got all fucked up for that team. And that's, that's great that you can do that on a regular basis. Now we got to work on, hey, you may have to sit. We need to work on that line to where they can hold guys back for maybe a heartbeat more. They got more work to do. They made great strides this year. They really did. Tua played 16 games. He never did, get knocked out. Or excuse me, 17 games.
I think it's the first time he's ever played a full season.
That's the first time in college or pros that he's ever played a full season. Absolutely. So they got that part down. It's just they need to work on the rest of it. And those guys were so decimated on the defensive line in particular, man. They had nobody left to rush the passer at all. And I figured they were probably going to have to blitz in that game, and it was going to burn them. I knew Patrick Mahomes. You go blitzing Mahomes and Reed's offense, he's going to burn the shit out of you. So I imagine they ran a lot of screens in that fucking game.
There was more than a few.
Yeah, I figured as much. Like I said, I didn't see that one. But this next one, boys and girls, I saw and laughed my ass off. Wow, did I laugh my ass off. And I was kind of pissed, actually, because I can't stand the away team in this one. I hate the fucking Green Bay Packers with a passion. And those guys come out there and just boat race the fucking look. This score is not indicative of the game, boys and girls. Most of these 32 points the Cowboys had were late in the game when they were playing prevent defense.
Garbage time.
Well, to be fair, there was about 4 minutes left in the game, and when they got to 32. So, and I think Dallas still had all their timeouts, something like that. So it got a little interesting. And my thing is this particular reason right here is Dallas. Yeah, they came on a little later. They were figuring things out. This is why I want them to bring the 4th and 12 to the NFL, rather than the
Fourth and
shitty
12. Oh God.
instead of the shitty onside kick, which never works. It's a dumb play. It's stupid. You rely on a kicker that practice it maybe twice a year. I would rather see, as bad as he was in some parts of this game, I'd rather see Dak Prescott on 4th and 12 with the potential to keep the ball, or Tua, something like that where they have a chance at the end of the game to come back, because they could have came back if they were given a better chance than an onside kick. That's my main competition committee. Bring it to the NFL. It's been successful in the UFL or the USFL, the XFL. Bring it to the NFL.
The competition committee could argue that it would help with player safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be
safe. Get rid of the onside kick.
That's a selling
they're meant
point,
to smash.
No doubt.
The whole front line is meant to just go and smash the other guys and let someone else get the ball.
Green Bay had pulled their starters.
Yes,
they did.
They did.
And
then the Cowboys put up a couple of touchdowns, and they said, "Okay, wait a minute, you guys get back out there and hang on the ball for a while, will you?"
Let's not let them do that.
Yeah.
So
but that's how far ahead they were. I mean,
they were hard. Yeah.
God, I don't remember the Packers punting. They were just smashing these guys, and Dan Quinn was being touted as maybe being a big coach in the coaching carousel that they were going to interview and stuff. And I'm not hearing his name all of a sudden after the thrashing they took. This vaunted Dallas defense got smashed, folks. They got destroyed. It was.
Well, I hear Matt Patricia's available. That the vaunted defense over there.
Whose defense was
Philly.
he running? Philly. Yes, Philly. Yeah, that great killer. We'll talk about them here in a minute. But so the Cowboys,
the Commanders.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Matt.
The Commanders may consider Dan Quinn.
I'm kind of wishing they would go for Ben Johnson myself.
I love Dan Quinn. I dig him. He got us a Super Bowl. He was the guy behind the defense back when we were going to the Super Bowl. And proof's in the pudding, boys and girls. Let me say it again. The Packers didn't punt. Not for 3 quarters. They didn't. No. Okay. And as you can see, that wasn't field goals. It was touchdowns.
No, that was touchdowns.
Okay. I mean, my gosh, they were beating the shit out of that team. And once again, I kept hearing the announcers that were calling that game. I can't remember who was calling the game, but they kept saying there's something off with CeeDee Lamb. He's just not. It doesn't look right. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? Mike McCarthy can coach these guys all day long, but these players have to play the game. And I just don't know if Dallas is hungry enough to win a championship. They are so coddled there in Dallas that, I mean, it's like playing in a country club. I've sat in that stadium. Those fans do not know when they're supposed to get loud unless the fucking teleprompter up top, that big-ass fucking screen tells them to. I mean, they really don't. It's very strange. That whole fucking mystique around that bunch.
You mean the hired actors in the crowd? Yeah.
I swear to God, man, it's ridiculous. Yeah, they need some hired actors to pump up the volume, right?
Like
the WWE does.
The Asian
they need the guy with the red ball cap,
Yeah. Exactly, Matt. Yeah.
It's
or it was the
Vikings.
We don't know.
Look, you know Dallas. Knock. You know my buddy Dallas, right? When the Packers scored that first touchdown and Dallas didn't answer, he texted me right away. He said, "We're going to lose this game." He knew they were about to blow it. He knew it. And I don't know what it is, man. Dak Prescott had the best year he's ever had. But sure enough, he fucked it up in the playoffs, man. And look, you can say what you want. That pick 6 he threw early in the game, where was he throwing that ball? he was forcing it in there. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. And you just can't do that on a playoff game. You can't do it.
The Packers looked really crisp on that opening drive.
They did. They did. And they didn't slow down after that. Eric, this Dallas defense that had been one of the best defenses all year long. Well, let me refrain from that. Half a season they were the best defense. I watched them in Seattle when Seattle came in there. They weren't stopping Seattle. That was a back and forth game the whole time. I'm pretty sure the Lions game was the same way. Right?
Yeah.
They weren't stopping anybody the second half of the season. And it's it's been said several times, NFL not for long. You're going to get an edge on folks, but not for long. They're going to figure you out,
Yep.
If Jordan Love can win a Super Bowl and start for 10, 15 years for the Packers, the only thing I can really compare it to is the whole like Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin.
Yes.
Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
Top to bottom, great organization doing what they do. Packers, they don't sign free agents. They very rarely do it. I think Reggie White was the most famous one they ever signed, free agent, probably.
Yep.
When it comes to quarterback, they don't. They draft them, and boys and girls, we know, we've heard a million times it's a win now league, but the Packers do it the old way. They have that guy sit for 2 or 3 years and learn behind a vet. And it shows. I mean, they were even showing on film. Jordan Love looked like Aaron Rodgers out there. He's throwing off his back foot and nailing it. I mean, it's
throwing him. He's throwing in the air like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And it's all because he got to sit there and learn behind one of the greats, right? I mean, you can't say enough about it. Nothing. I mean, the greatest teacher is experience, no doubt. But when you can sit behind somebody like a Joe Montana or an Aaron Rodgers or a Brett Favre, you're going to succeed. Yep. You're going to learn from one of those football minds that's a proven guy that knows how to beat a defense. Yeah, come on, man. It's ridiculous. And it showed in this game. And it just, I don't know, Cowboys fans, I hate it for you. But it's going to continue to go this way. If they don't change things, it's going to continue to go this way. And I've said it a million times, and I really believe this. The problem's the owner because he coddles his players. He does. He treats them like royalty, and they think that they're a little bit above their coaching staff. And I really think that's a problem with that organization. It's not glaring, you know what I'm saying? But I think when it comes down to crunch time, when a coach looks at somebody and says, hey, they have this we'll get them next time attitude. Well, if you continue with the we'll get them next time, you're going to keep having a next time. You're not going to have the time, Right. So I hate it for you guys. I really do. I thought they'd get out of this round this time. Go ahead, Matt.
The best thing for them would be whenever Jerry Jones retires or passes away or whatever, that when the kids take over, that they go hire a strong GM that does GM stuff and just get out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we see with Mike Davis, that's tough that's tough for a kid that's been watching his dad do that forever because he's acting just like his father. He's way too involved. So, yeah.
Yeah, including bad haircuts. Yeah.
Including bad haircuts, no doubt. All right. So that's the story of the Green Bay Packers and the 49ers. I think it's funny. The Green Bay is playing their playoff rivals this year because we'll be talking about their next opponent. It's another big rival of theirs. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I'm just sad we won't get a Browns-Lions Super Bowl.
Nah, me too. But speaking of the Lions, it's a possibility they'll be there because the game of the weekend, and we all knew it was going to be the game of the weekend because neither one of these guys wanted to lose the game, no doubt. Matthew Stafford returned to the scene of the crime, and I thought that they would cheer him, and they booed the fuck out of him when he came in that building. They really did. They let him have it. I was like,
the announcers were Matt Stafford is so respected in his town.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, these Lions fans are serious, man. They no doubt when LA went to the Super Bowl with him, I'm sure every Lions fan felt like they got a Super Bowl victory, because they rooted for that guy forever. And I'm sure they were pulling for the Rams. But on this day, they were like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. Now, Joe, we'll say this: that there were probably a fair amount of Lions fans though that probably hated watching the Rams win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot that I'm sure were for them, but probably
just as many against. Yeah, no doubt. But this is a town that's tough-minded, and they are kind of like the Cleveland Browns back in the day before they moved to Baltimore. It's a dedicated fan base that they have been with them through thick and thin. And it showed in that game. My God, they were into it. When they scored that opening touchdown, that place exploded. And Matthew was having a hard time calling plays the rest of the fucking game. No doubt about it, man. It was fun to watch. That was a great game to watch. It really was. Enjoyed the hell out of it. I was pulling for Matt, but good to see the Lions. Actually, this is a team. Dan Campbell has been turning over the next stone and the next stone and the next stone, trying to change the losing culture of that team. And now they've got a playoff win. Now they've got another home game this week. And you can't say enough about what Dan Campbell has done with this team, especially with a quarterback that everybody thought was washed. This guy, after the Super Bowl loss he had, that everybody thought, Goff's never going to get it done, blah, 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 blah. And wow, you got to be happy for that guy. He played a brilliant game. He did. I don't know what it is about Goff. He's got to have one stupid fucking play every fucking game. And you guys know what I'm talking about, when they was getting drugged down and he tried to fucking just launch it to somebody. I was like, dude, what are you doing? But all the other plays he had in that game were fantastic.
I think we all, well, not we all, but I felt like this might be the best game going into the weekend.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
In my opinion, it still was.
If you remember last week, I didn't want to pick it. I was like, I don't want to pick this game. Neither one of these guys are going to want to lose it.
Well, when you have a team that's hot, that's playing on the road, it's like it's hard to know which way to go.
I just want to see Jahmyr Gibbs more. I like Montgomery, but my gosh, anytime Gibbs had the ball, he would go 5 yards just on speed alone.
Yeah. You talking about the backup running back for the Lions? Yeah.
He backup.
He was.
I think they just try to slow him down. He's just like 1B or something like that.
It's called young legs.
Yeah, it is young legs. Well, look, but you don't want to get rid of Montgomery. I think that's one of the things Dallas.
Great. I wanted to see more Gibbs.
That's one of the problems Dallas has right now. I really think they miss Ezekiel Elliott. Believe it or not, I think they miss him.
They didn't have that. They didn't have the power back to run straight through on to punch it through on third and short.
Yeah, short yardage. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the Lions advance, and then we had this loser of a game right here. Oh my God, I hated watching this game. First of all, I hate both of these franchises. I can at least respect the Pittsburgh Steelers because of what we talked about earlier. They've got a great organization top to bottom, but I've seen my favorite teams get crushed by this team too many times. And then you've got everybody's favorite sad sack story, the Buffalo Bills, that just can't fucking win a game when they have to. I didn't. You guys talk about it if you want to, because I didn't care who won this game.
Well, clearly Joe doesn't care for Buffalo, so
no.
I
have no love for either one of these fucking teams.
It was a good try for the Steelers. They did come back a little bit, but of course they came back to within a score, but they couldn't stop Buffalo on their last big drive, and they definitely missed TJ Watt. That was probably the biggest. I was fixing to
say that team is decimated with injuries. Yeah,
this game would have been a completely different story if TJ Watt was playing.
Yes, sure would have been. Mm-hmm.
But you're waiting for Allen to make that big mistake, and he did not make it in this game.
Did not. Yeah.
And that's going to be the thing. Like, well, if he doesn't make a mistake, they're probably going to win. If he makes mistakes, they're going to lose. So, but even if he does make mistakes, they're usually still in the game.
Yeah.
At least. But
dude, that running back, they've got the back now. Cook is just amazing. Yeah. That guy's got great vision. He has great vision. He really does. Why they even throw the ball is beyond me. It's ridiculous, man.
I just don't think that Josh Allen has a football IQ.
He doesn't. He doesn't. He's John Elway all over again, man. He is John Elway all over again.
You're saying there's all the physical tools, yeah.
Yeah, and he thinks he can put the ball anywhere he wants to. And Elway was the same way. The only time, Elway, God love him, man. He drugged that fucking team to a Super Bowl offensively. No doubt they had great defenses. The Orange Crush defense back then was fantastic. It really was. But on the offensive side, it was all him. It was all him, and got crushed every time. They'd score 10 points and then get boat raced the rest of the game, and didn't happen for him until he was the backseat driver. Yeah. When he took a backseat to Terrell Davis and just had to make a throw or two.
When he became
even in that Atlanta game where he threw for over 304 touchdowns. It was because they were loading up to stop Terrell Davis. It made it easy for him,
You could maybe compare it to Michael Jordan. In the 80s, he had to do everything.
He had to do everything. And when they got Scottie Pippen and they got him some pieces around him, then all of a sudden it became a team game and they were unstoppable. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you can have a great player like a Josh Allen. If you don't have the pieces around him, you're not going to get it done. He didn't make the mistake. And I'm with John. If TJ Watt plays in this game, I think he makes a mistake because he gets pressured, and he was not pressured in this game at all. He was back there making sandwiches. It was fucking ridiculous, man. So, yeah, kind of knew this one was coming. I didn't think Mason Rudolph was going to have enough to, save these guys. And I think I saw Pickett drop a couple of balls in there too. Of course, he's young, but still, you gotta make those plays. And it was cold. They were throwing snow in the stands, man. It wasn't as cold as it was in KC, but it was cold up there. So
it's interesting. This weekend for a lot of defense, I saw a lot of sloppy tackling.
Oh my God, brother! We're going to talk about that in the next one. Yeah, you want to talk about an expose on how to not tackle? Philadelphia fucking showed you how to do it this weekend. Good Lord, yes, you're absolutely right, buddy. We'll go ahead and transition to that.
I saw it in multiple games, not just one game.
Yeah, but boy, it was on display in this one, big time.
And the NFL really lucked out with that Monday being a federal holiday.
Yeah, absolutely, because they probably would have had to run these simultaneously if they hadn't had that. I doubt they would have had a 3:30 kickoff if it wasn't a federal holiday and everybody was home. So, but yeah, this game here, you guys know I'm a Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma Boomer Sooner. I love him. I think they screwed him in Cleveland, and I think they're paying the price for it now. And how much fun was this to watch?
Yeah.
Real early in the game, he threw a deep ball that hit Mike Evans right in the hands. Should have been a touchdown pass. And he dropped that thing, and I was like, son of a bitch. But, boy, he just kept rolling. It didn't even bother him, man. He kept going. And you want to talk about bad tackling. What was that kid's name he hit on the fucking what was it, a curl route, I think? And the fucking corner tried to arm drag him, and he busted out of that and just went to the middle of the field and outran everybody, man. It was ridiculous. Yep. Oh, man. I enjoyed the hell out of this, guys. You guys give them your thoughts on it, but you guys know I love this game because Baker Mayfield. Yes, I was all about it, man.
I've always been a Baker doubter, and he proved me wrong. He definitely proved me wrong. Mike Evans, one day we're going to look up and he's going to be in Canton, and we're going to be like, how did that happen? But
how did that happen? Right?
We'll look at this game and go, well, that's how it happened.
Yeah.
He did bounce back. Yes, he did. But boy, early in that game, he was dropping everything that was getting thrown at him.
And if rumors are true, he might be catching balls from Patrick Mahomes next year.
Yeah, he might be.
You wish.
Well, look, the Chiefs are gonna go get a number one either through free agency or the draft. They're getting a wide receiver because they are. That's if they get knocked out, that's probably what's going to cost them. Is the fact that they don't have a number one.
Rashid Rice is actually coming on, so
coming on
at the right time. At the right time.
Yeah.
Well, they wanted Kadarius Toney to be Tyreek Hill 2.0, and
no.
That has been a failed experiment right there. I think we can chronicle that in several games, but you could actually say that Kadarius Toney's the whole reason why they're not playing every game at home this year.
Whenever the
playoffs too. So
whenever the Giants drafted Kadarius Toney, I think maybe in the first half of the first round, I was like, what are they? Because I saw that guy play at Florida, and I'm like, he's not a top 20 draft guy.
Right.
But I think because he was so highly thought of in the coming into the draft, I think that propelled him into what all the playing time he's gotten with the Giants and Chiefs.
Yeah. But
I think that's gone out.
I think
you don't have to worry about him. He's got that nice candy bar sponsorship now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, as far as the Philadelphia Eagles go, we've been chronicling it all year, guys. They never put together 4 quarters of football when they were winning. They looked really out of sync. And I think as the year went on, people figured them out. And I don't think enough is being mentioned about the fact that they lost both their coordinators. I think that's a huge part of this. The guy look what the guy that was the offensive coordinator did for, I think the offensive guy went to the Colts, didn't he? Or was that the defensive guy went to the Colts? I'm not sure.
One went to the Colts, one went to the Cardinals, right?
Right. Yeah. But both of those franchises, even though the Colts were vying for a division championship on the last week of the season. I mean, they played with Gardner Minshew. Okay. So that's a coaching job. That coordinator, they missed, no doubt. And then you've got the guy in Arizona. Now, they had a losing season, but they were in every fucking game. I mean, remember the early story was the Rocket Man, right? He was doing pretty well, so well that the Vikings went and got him before the trade deadline, because they had lost Cousins and they needed a trigger man. I think both of them are doing great coaching jobs. I'm not looking forward to facing the Cardinals in the future. They're going to get better. I mean, it was obvious when they got their number one quarterback back, they started winning. And, so.
Even if he is a Smurf.
Even if he is a fucking dwarf with I think he's got maybe one more IQ point more than Josh Allen when it comes to football. But, the guy's talented and he is a dwarf, but he was doing a fantastic job for him down the stretch. It was scary. And but I enjoyed every second of this because it was Baker Mayfield playing his best game ever. Really, if you ask me. I mean, it was dynamite. It was really good. I wish him luck in the next round, and that's what we're going to get to now. As far as let me ask you this, guys, before we get off of this one. Philly's head coach, keep him or unass him?
I think they'll keep him for 1 year.
Huh?
I think they're going to keep him for 1 more year.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep him. That's stupid.
That may sound stupid, but I've heard stories that guy is kind of abrasive and hard to deal with. So I don't know how true that is, but we'll see.
If
they've got to shore up some things there. I don't think they're far away from their Super Bowl ways, but teams definitely figured out that you've got to keep them in third and long. You can't give them third and short. And that was the whole goal of the defenses there down the stretch. They were keeping them from being able to push on those short yardage situations, Pretty interesting story about Kelsey. He was on his because they showed him at the end of that game kind of emotional and all this stuff. And Adam Schefter said he was going to retire, and then he gets on his podcast with his brother and says, I don't know where they're getting that from. I haven't made that decision yet. You can't make decisions like that after a football game.
No, it's
like
emotional.
that, you know. So Adam Schefter may have jumped the gun a little bit with that one. He may be coming back this year.
If he does retire, he's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. The guy's probably, I mean, you know, when I think of great centers, I think of the guy from Cleveland for a long time there. Him and Joe Thomas were stalwarts on the line there. And I think of, what is that guy's name? Played for the Jets, Kevin Mawai.
Yeah.
I think of that guy. You know, we drafted him in
had a
Seattle,
couple
and he ended up playing for the Jets. Yeah,
really good ones over the years.
He's fantastic. But anyway, okay, so we get to this weekend, boys and girls. It is time to break down. There are 8 teams left, and what is it with them having Houston start every round of the fucking playoffs? What is the deal with that? They were the first team on last week too. But we got the Houston Texans, Mr. C.J. Stroud, who solidified his offensive rookie of the year last week.
I don't know, man. He's gonna win it because it's quarterback, but Nakua is like, now, fam.
Puka Nakua is awesome, no doubt. But yeah, I think he solidified it last week, buddy. I don't think anybody thought he was going to shred the Cleveland defense like that. But they were at home. They're on the road this week with a week to get all their nicks salved up, the Baltimore Ravens. And I guess the question has to be this. Can Lamar win a playoff game? Can he do it?
Jury's still out on that.
They had 2 weeks because they didn't play against the Steelers.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the other thing. With 2 weeks, when do they start?
Do they have rust?
Their edge?
Right.
Yeah. Have they lost a little bit of their edge?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm Missouri when it comes to Lamar Smith. Or Lamar Jackson. Excuse me. He's got to show me. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's got to. He's got to show me.
He reminds me of Josh Allen in the sense that he's got all the physical tools. Did you know that when he was in college, and I heard this on the NFL broadcast,
Louisville,
2 weeks ago.
Right?
Yeah, went to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
During the broadcast 2 or 3 weeks ago, they said that they taught Lamar about how far he can throw the ball, and he said that he could throw it even further when he first got to Louisville, but he got injured, in some game in college, and that he can't throw it quite as far as he used to, and that. Like coming out of high school, I think he said he could throw it almost 100 yards.
Yeah. The guy, no doubt, has a whip. It's ridiculous. And he makes it look easy. He just flicks a wrist and it goes 50 yards. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. That's how I always felt with Vic.
Yeah, that's exactly. It looks like the same throwing motion, man.
Not even moving the arm, just kind of move your wrist and 80 yards.
Nothing to it. I mean, good Lord. It's
some of these
natural
guys,
talent.
it's as if on the day they're born, God's like, you will play football.
You will play football. You are built for it. Yep. But the postseason success, kind of like that guy in Dallas, Dak Prescott, it's like he chokes in the postseason.
Didn't they say that about Peyton Manning before him?
No. The knock on
before
him
he won the Super Bowl,
he had to have home field advantage. I mean, come on. Dude,
before he won
had
the
to
Super
face
Bowl,
Bill Belichick every fucking year. I mean, come on. In New England. As soon as he got home field advantage, everybody knew he was going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. That guy right there. Peyton Manning, you kidding me? Shit. The only thing that stopped him was Belichick, dude. That's the only thing that stopped him. Some of those pictures from Sports Illustrated, I just loved. Those snow games, Colts, New England, with him just getting mobbed by linebackers and shit. Oh, my God. Yeah, they terrorized him up there.
So Sports Illustrated might be done, by the way.
Yeah, saw that story. I've got it for this week's show with me and Danny, which, by the way, guys, has changed to Mondays. We're going to start doing that show on Mondays at 6. But, they're massive firings over there and layoffs. And, it may be done. It may be history. But that's more of journalism going bye-bye in America. So, hey. But getting back to this game, it's going to be interesting to see how C.J. Stroud plays against this team right here, because this is a defense that will punch you in the fucking mouth. They hang their hat on beating you up. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, they have a defensive-minded head coach in D'Amico Ryans that is probably going to prep him for this pretty well. But and I don't think you can say enough about what D'Amico Ryans has done with this team this year. That defense was flying around last week for them. It really was. From what I saw of it, you guys could tell me, but I didn't see the whole game, but it sure looked like they were feasting on the Cleveland Browns. So,
absolutely, yeah. Flacco he had no time. He had no time.
Reminds me of the Rams and Lions game in the sense you got a hot road team coming in.
Yeah, I can't pick it. It's hard for me to pick this one, especially after. I mean, when you have a rookie in a playoff game that plays the way he did last week, it's kind of like watching Patrick Mahomes for the first time. You are seeing somebody that the moment's not too big for him, and he's going to be trying to tear the heart out of this team the whole way. So,
C.J. Stroud's going to be a force to reckon with for many years in the NFL.
Yeah, and it's. I saw a picture that made me laugh really hard last week, and it was a picture of C.J. Stroud walking past the Cleveland sideline, and the old Texans quarterback, Deshaun Watson, was glaring at him like, "You're a piece of shit." Making me look bad like this.
And from what I've heard, C.J. Stroud's a stable individual. You know, a lot of times you have to worry about young quarterbacks not being, having their head right, but apparently
he's a grounded kid.
He's a grounded kid, Christian, from what I hear. My buddy Dallas told me, he said that he told me this week, he said, I'm actually thinking about buying only my second jersey that's not a Cowboys jersey. And I said, what's that? And he sent me a picture of C.J. Stroud's jersey. And I was like, wow, you're going to get a Texans jersey? You're a Cowboys fan and you're going to get a Texans jersey? What is this shit? Wow. But I hear he's a great guy by all accounts. So
he just has to show, like, if he ever encounters David Tepper, he has to make sure that he doesn't get any drinks thrown at him.
Right.
Because of the anger over not drafting.
Wow, did they get that wrong or what? But I mean, you really don't know. I can't blame people for drafting the wrong guys and stuff like that. I mean, even what's that guy's name, played for the Chargers years ago? And
Ryan Leaf.
Yes, Ryan Leaf. That guy had a whip in college. He was unbeatable, man. The guy was awesome. And he got the NFL and just laid an egg,
Every now and then, sometimes you do know, like when the Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky as high as they did, I'm like, this is dumb. Like sometimes you just can see when it's
you
dumb.
knew Manning was going to be good when he came in the league. You knew that was coming, I think that when Troy Aikman got drafted, I think everybody thought, this guy's going to be great. Didn't expect so many Super Bowls out of that bunch, but knew he was going to be good.
And he was the right quarterback for that team.
Yes, absolutely. Sure was.
To illustrate how the Browns defense did, or the Browns offense did against the
D'Amico Ryans led Houston defense. Yeah.
They showed a shot of Flacco sitting on the sidelines looking like he's wondering why he got off that damn couch.
Right. That poor guy. I felt bad for Flacco. I did, man. But hey, the Cinderella run was over.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes, man. That's why you try and get home field advantage. Only one road team won in the wild card round, and they went in Dallas and did it. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So, what do you think, guys? I think Houston has a chance. I think they're going to have to play mistake-free football, though, because this defense will jump all over them. If they smell blood, they will be all over them. It'll be like watching the Buccaneers defense against the Eagles. By the way, before we get too far from it, how come they didn't have one fucking slant route for fucking Hurts to go to when they were getting the blitz thrown at them as heavy as they were? That was very strange to me. They did not adjust to that blitz at all.
No hot routes, nothing.
Nothing. Everything was fly routes. Everything was going downfield. I was like, dude, You need to pull a Brady and just say, "Hey, man, I need this." You know what I mean?
I'm not sure Hurts could have hit the slant routes
Yeah.
with the timing with his finger the way it was.
Well, there you go. That's true. That team was nicked up a little bit, but still, it doesn't excuse the fact that they didn't have a slant route called. Shit. Yeah. At least give them a chance. You know. But anyway, I'm pulling for Houston because I have no love for the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm sure, being a Kansas City fan, you'd like to host the AFC Championship game if you get there. So you would like to see Houston win.
Houston
really, it's Baltimore.
We beat the
We've
Bills.
said this all year long. Both of the 1 seeds, it's their games to lose.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. If Baltimore comes out here and plays their game, they're going to run for 200 on them. They're going to throw for 200 on them, and it's going to be ugly. But, this is why they play the games, guys. This one, I don't even want to pick. I really don't. It's after seeing the way C.J. Stroud played against the number 1 defense in the NFL. Yeah, you got to be scared if you're Baltimore.
I will hesitantly go with the Ravens. Hesitantly.
You know what? I'm going Ravens all the way. And my reasoning is they played the toughest schedule out of all of them to end the season.
That is a good fucking point.
They played the Lions. They played the Dolphins. They played Dallas. They beat everybody that they played.
The only team they didn't beat was Seattle.
Yeah,
that's the only one they didn't beat.
But at the end of the season, like, they didn't just kind of hold on to the first seed. They earned the first.
They locked it down and had it all
They
year
locked
long.
it down before they.
Mm-hmm.
So and unfortunately, my biggest concern is the 2 weeks off. I don't know. You come in with the arguably the hottest team right now.
Yeah.
Outside maybe the Packers. And that's who and then you're coming off kind of cold. To me. So that's right. But the Ravens right now, to me, are the number 1 team in the NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stick with them.
You can definitely argue that, and I don't.
They're while they
beat the Niners. They beat the Niners handily.
Their passing game has gotten so much better than it was in the past. Lamar doesn't have to run. I don't think they have to run 200 yards in this one. I think it will obviously help if running the ball.
But the beautiful thing about Lamar,
I'm not saying Lamar's going to run for 200 yards. I think that them as a team is going to run for 200 yards.
Right, but I don't think they have. Like, in the past, it's always been if Lamar can't run, then the game's over.
Right.
And I think his passing game over the last however long he's been in the league has, especially this year, jumped up to a whole other height.
That's the question mark in this one. Because when it comes to the playoffs, that's when he makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And if he can keep from,
but he never really
passed.
He didn't pass enough in the past, so that when they stopped the run, he was. This year they passed much more than they used to. They still ran, obviously, but with Beckham and Flowers, man, I think the only thing that really hurt their passing game was Andrews going out for the season.
Yeah.
Matt, what were you going to say? You were going to say something.
The beautiful thing about Lamar is that he doesn't have to run, but if you've got a 3rd and 4 and nobody's open,
he can pull it down.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, if they keep him to that, not designed runs with him, just let him pull it down if he has to, kind of thing. Yeah, I'm with you. It's their game to lose, no doubt. They are the best team in football. It's proven. And we talked, getting back to what you were just saying about that murderer's row. How many teams did we see face that murderer's row and lose most of those games? I know Seattle had a murderer's row and they lost them all except for the one against Baltimore. They won that one. Who else had it? Philadelphia had a murderer's row and they lost all of them. But Baltimore's murderer's row, they destroyed everybody they played except for Seattle. And it took Seattle won that game in the last couple of minutes with a quarterback they didn't know, right? It was Drew Lock, and they didn't know about this guy, right? And he played arguably the best drive of his entire career, at the right time to win that game. And so, when you look at that body of work, I understand exactly why Knock is all in with Baltimore, no doubt. I mean, it's their game to lose, no doubt about it.
That's what's so hard to have sustained success in the NFL is because when you do have a good year, the next year that they punish you with the schedule.
That's it. Yeah. And the thing that shocked me was the Super Bowl champs had a pretty weak schedule down the stretch. Wouldn't you say there, John?
I
It was
agree
pretty
with
sweet
that.
for you.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, we're getting fucking San Francisco and Baltimore and all this shit. And they're out there playing the fucking, some of those teams you were playing was horrible.
Well, listen.
Some of those teams are in our division, so I mean,
well, that's true.
Anyway.
I mean, the division games you can't do anything about that, but okay, so that's the first one. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going with Houston.
Houston. I'm not picking it, man. I can't pick it. Yes, I will pick it. I'm picking Baltimore because they're the home team. When all things are equal, I'll go with the home team every time because they're going to get the calls. I mean, and it's not. When I say they're going to get the calls, I'm not saying like it's Dallas or Green Bay, okay? Yeah. What I'm saying is usually they lean towards the home team when it's questionable, and they do that for obvious reasons. It's because they've got 70,000 people there, and it is an entertainment thing. Whether you like it or not, it's an entertainment product. So, I'm sure they lean that way. So that's the way.
I think one of the biggest things with that one is the fact that, Lamar's not going to stand back there like a tree like Flacco did.
No.
He's going to be able to get out.
Man has wheels and can burn you with them. No doubt.
And they have the best kicker to ever kick a ball.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. They've got the edge on every side of the fucking ball. It's their game to lose. It's their game to lose. They've got 2 weeks to get healed up from all the nicks that they've been carrying all year. Yeah. As long as there's not too much rust, they should run away with this. They should. It should be a good game, though. I don't think C.J. Stroud's going to lay down by any means at all. Okay, so that's our opener. I think that's at 3:30 my time, 4:30 Eastern. And then tonight, we got how many great moments have we seen in playoff games between these two fucking teams right here? I mean, the one I always remember was Terrell Owens before he was the mouth, before he was the fucking diva, dropping every fucking ball that was thrown to him by Steve Young and then catching it right in the middle of the field, getting fucking pulverized by two guys, and that announcer just yelling, he caught it, he caught it, he caught it. Great moments in this fucking rivalry right here. The Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. And I don't think it's going to let us down tonight either. The Packers they have hit their stride in the second half of this season, and they are going in announcing themselves in stadiums on the road. They did that in Dallas last week. They said, you got a good defense. Okay, we're just going to hang 21 on you real quick. Hope you don't mind. I mean, shit. They went right through that Dallas defense.
I just like
this is going to be a lot different, and I'll tell you why. If there's a weakness on that Dallas defense, it's their linebacking core. That is not the case here. You have got a dude in the middle that will make you pay for any fucking mistake you make. This kind of like Baltimore in the AFC. This team is stacked at every position. And they are physical. And,
this team has the greater Bosa.
Right. The greater Bosa. Yes.
I just like the way that these two teams look on the field together, like these uniforms. It works.
Well, and I mean, just look at the history. Such great games between them, In the NFC, anytime you see Green Bay, Dallas, Green Bay, San Francisco, Dallas, these are great games. These are organizations that have ruled the NFC for a long goddamn time, and it is fun to watch. One of my favorite playoff games was San Francisco, Dallas in Candlestick Park after a fucking monsoon when they were playing in the fucking mud. Everybody looked like they had brown jerseys by the end of the game. It was fucking great. It was awesome. But
which, you got the baseball infield there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it was. All that dirt, man. It was great. But yeah, this game is going to be fantastic. It's happening in San Francisco, Levi Stadium, which is one of the nicer stadiums in Santa Clara, California, just a little north of San Francisco. I am picking this one. I'm picking San Francisco to win this game. I know the Packers are coming in very dangerous. They're playing with house money and all that good stuff, but San Francisco is stacked at every fucking position, and they're going to. If they make a mistake, they're going to make them pay for it. I got a feeling this is going to be a lot like what game was it earlier this year? They were playing somebody. I don't even remember who it was. They spotted them 10 points. I think they spotted them 10 points. And then they didn't fucking punt the rest of the game. I won it like 48-17 or some shit like that. And it was a good team too. It might have. Did Dallas play them this year and get punked by them? I can't remember.
Dallas really did.
Well, yeah, but I'm trying to think of who it was they played, but it was there was a big build up to the game. It was both of them were vying for first the first seed. It might have been the Lions game. I think they played the Lions. But man, they're just tough. They if any team in the league reeks smash mouth, it's this team right here, San Francisco.
Joe, would it have been the Eagles?
Could have been the Eagles.
Yeah.
Could have been the Eagles. Yeah. Which it's understandable now, right? After seeing what we've seen. But at the time, yeah, because I think the Eagles was like 11-1, and they had lost to somebody like the Commanders or something. The Commanders had panted them or something like that.
No, they didn't lose to the Commanders this year.
They didn't? Okay.
There was one game where
was it the Giants that did it to them?
That might have been the DeVito.
Yeah. Could have been.
Tammy.
Could have been. But both teams went into it with the same record. I do remember that game. It was a big hyped game in the NFC. But look, not only on defense do they beat you up, on offense they beat you up. I mean, every guy on that offense will beat you the fuck up. They are big fucking people. These guys look good getting off the bus. You know what I'm saying? They look scary.
The thing I like about the 49ers offense, and I've gushed about it in the past, every play they run makes sense. It's like it's either they're trying to do something on that play that they think will work, or they think it'll set up the next play.
The next one. Yeah.
Everything
meshes. Yeah.
It just
works. The question is, Kyle Shanahan hasn't won the big one yet. So he can get them there though. I don't know.
I think the only thing that's ever held this team back is injuries.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
The injury bug. Sure. That's it.
And I don't think they were playing for anything the last game of the season this year either. So they've had a couple of weeks.
The free love movement may have started in San Francisco, but there's going to be no love for Green Bay in San Francisco.
No love in Green Bay.
Nice.
No love in San Francisco for Green Bay at all.
So you're saying it's going to be hate in Ashbury, but Hate? Is that?
Yeah.
Well, everybody's talking about how young the Packers are.
Yeah.
And we're going to find out how much they have matured in this second half of the season today. We're going to find out because they are going to be tested. They weren't tested last week in Dallas. They were not tested offensively at all by them. Jordan Love had his way. He did whatever he wanted to.
Yeah.
And so did Aaron Jones, by the way. And I got a feeling Aaron Jones is not going to have a good day today. If the San Francisco 49ers hang their hat on anything, it's stopping a running game, and they love doing that. So that's why I say the strength of this team is their linebacking core and their front line. Their front seven is scary, period.
But Bosa is going to have a field day on tackles.
Yeah. And who's the guy that they got at the trade deadline?
Chase Young.
Young. Yeah. That's who's playing on the other side. I mean,
that's his opposite. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, tell me they weren't getting ready for this kind of thing right here when they made that move. Ugh. Those guys make some of the best mid-season trades you'll ever see. I mean, last year it was McCaffrey, and I, for one, thought he was going to end up injured like he always does, but,
comes out
he's proving me wrong, man. It's crazy, So it's going to be fun to watch. It's tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. It's 8:00 on the East Coast, and I'm going with the Niners. I think they're going to take care of these young bucks tonight. I think both of these games are going to be really good. We got two young teams on the road going in against the number one seeds that have honed their craft so well this year that they are scary to go up against. And it's two young guys playing with house money. We'll see what happens, man. But I think it's San Francisco in this one. What do you guys think?
I got San Francisco.
Yeah.
I'll go Niners, but the Packers, I think, will put up a good fight.
Yep.
No, I think this one is where Packers come back down to earth, and I mean, for most of the season, I mean, I definitely know there's something to be said about coming into playoffs hot, but they weren't that great for most of the season.
Yeah.
So I think the 49ers remind us that they weren't that good for most of the season.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel you, man. Yeah, because you know what? I feel you on that because in Dallas last week, Mr. Love was throwing some balls that maybe against this team probably would have gotten picked. You know what I mean? Throwing some air balls and stuff like that.
Also, Dak could have had a couple more picks.
He could have had a couple more picks, no doubt about it, which means San Francisco is going to have a few more completions. I expect them. You know whose name we're going to hear a lot more, I think, today than we have all year? I think Kittle goes off today. I think he's going
to go off.
I think Kittle and Ayuk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ayuk is.
That's what's scary about the 49ers. Every one of their skill positions is fucking good, man. Even the fullback can burn your ass. I mean,
you're having trouble getting Deebo Samuels the ball? Jet sweep.
Right? Jet sweep. Just hand it to him. And when you're done with that, just throw it to Juszczyk in the flat and see how many people he can fucking mow down.
From McCaffrey.
Yeah, and Joe, meanwhile, these young coaches like your boy Stokely are like, what's a fullback?
Yeah, what's a fullback? Yeah, they keep trying to get rid of that position, and San Francisco it does my heart good to see that, man. It really does. Because you know who one of my favorite players when the Seahawks went to their first Super Bowl, a guy named Max Strong was their fullback, man, and he was blowing holes for Sean Alexander all year long. It was fucking awesome. Anyway, yeah, great. I'm pulling for the Niners. I hate the Packers, and pulling for my division tonight. I hope to see them just mow this team down. That'd be great. But I think it's going to be a good game. I really do. Packers are coming in strong. They just come out of Dallas with a huge victory, not a little one. They didn't get beat up doing it. Like John said, they had their backups in really early in that game in the fourth quarter. So, it's going to be fun to see. Okay, next one we got Baker Mayfield going into Detroit. Probably the team that all of us that don't have a dog in the hunt anymore, probably the team all of us are rooting for just because they've been such sad sacks all these years. The Detroit Lions, the number 2 seed in the NFC.
I thought this game was at noon. This is at 2?
It's at 2:00 Central.
Okay, then that means Chiefs don't play till 5.
Right.
Okay.
That's the way they do it in the playoffs, man. This will be like this championship weekend, too. They start them a little bit later, John.
Or maybe even
5:30.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, Sunday, we're going to start with Tampa Bay going into Detroit. Now, I really can't gauge the Tampa Bay Buccaneers off of what they looked like last week because they played a shitty team last week, in my opinion, that was not ready for anything they fucking did.
No.
So you really can't gauge it. But I can tell you this. Todd Bowles, to me, is one of the most underrated head coaches in the NFL, okay? When he was coaching in Arizona, I hated playing that fucking team. They were just tough as fucking nails. They really were. And in my opinion, he should have been the MVP. I mean, I know coaches don't get the MVP, but when Tom Brady won his last Super Bowl, I thought he should have been MVP of that game because those guys were expecting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to blitz the whole game like they did to Philly last week. Every down, they were sending the fucking house at Hurts because he proved that he couldn't fucking beat it. But everybody in that Super Bowl against the Chiefs, you know this, John, they were expecting the blitz, and he blitzed 3 times in that game.
Yep.
He laid back, made Mahomes be patient, and go to underneath shit the whole time. And and
that's before Mahomes learned how to do that.
Right. And I really thought he should have been the MVP of that game, not Tom Brady. But it's going to be interesting to see how Goff has matured against the blitz. That's what's going to be interesting. Can he get it to Amon-Ra, right? St. Brown? Can he get it to that guy? To Knox's point earlier, is it Gibson? Is that his name?
Gibbs.
Yeah.
Gibbs. Okay, Gibbs. Can he get it to him in the flat on a blitz? Can he do these things? If it was a few years ago, I'd have said no. Goff can't beat a blitz. His book is he does not do well against it, But we'll see. I mean, he's definitely matured. Like I said, he played almost a perfect game last week, but there was still that one stupid play. He just fucking can't help himself. He's got to have one dumb one in there. What do you got for me there, Knock?
I think this is the biggest question of the week, if you want to put me in.
Oh, my God. I think I know what this is.
Guys, this is very worrisome, okay? And so the reporter, this hard-hitting reporter, is his response to how is the Buccaneers preparing for the weather in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? And they got a dome.
That was funny, man. Oh my
God! What was unsaid was dumbass.
Right, dumbass.
That's all I wanted to play. That's all I wanted to play.
Oh my God!
As soon as you started talking about Todd Bowles, I had to play that.
Could not believe that reporter said that, dude.
He's like, all we have is the walk from the bus to the stadium, about 10 minutes. So no prep.
No prep.
I saw. I was cracking up when I heard that. I was like,
he had another great one. If you heard it this week, somebody was asking about representation in the NFL with African American coaches and stuff, and he said, "You know what? We don't coach like that. I have a bunch of friends who are white. They're head coaches in the NFL." He said, "You know what? As soon as you guys quit talking about it, everybody's going to stop talking about it." And I was like, dude, the new coach in New England needs to be taking notes, because he opened up his mouth and inserted his foot on that subject earlier this week, Joe,
are you saying that the media virtue signals? Is that
just a little bit, just a wee bit. Yeah, because you could tell Todd Bowles does not have a poker face, okay? He rolled his eyes immediately when the reporter asked him the diversity and inclusion question, right? He was just like, oh, man, this? Okay. let me pull down your pants right here, just make you look stupid. That's what he did. But getting back to the game itself, I think the big question mark is here, can Goff beat the blitz? Because that's what it's going to come down to. I guarantee you Bowles is not going to do what he did against Mahomes. He's not going to lay back in this one. He's going to go after Goff because Goff, like I said, Goff has a tendency to blow it when he's under pressure. So that's always been the book on him, Yeah. That's one of the reasons why McVay wanted him out in Los Angeles, because you guys, I know you heard me several times bitch about the fact that he always drifts back into the rush. When I saw him start to step up into the rush last year, when they started to take off as a team, I was like, okay, now he's learning, but if he gets hit enough, he might, fall back into his ways. I don't know. Detroit should win this game, but that's going to be the question mark on that side of the ball. On the other side, Detroit's defense doesn't look scary to me. It doesn't.
I just don't trust the Bucs. I don't.
Yeah.
They barely beat the Panthers. I can't.
I hear you.
They had to win. They literally had to beat the Panthers. And if it wasn't for a play by Winfield to stop the Panthers from going in for that touchdown.
They did it with field goals. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
Oh, God. I hate that kind of playing with field goal crap. But I mean, it worked for Philly, but Philly was just they were what 2-6,
Yeah,
something like that in the last 8 weeks. Or something like
yeah,
that.
it was bad. It was bad.
It was monumental.
Yeah,
collapse.
that's why when you
And-
mentioned it in the text, I was like, yeah, it's okay. That's gonna start piling up on him. Don't worry about that. You know.
If Knock and I were coaches, we would be so different. Because field goals, punts, and defense. Those are my 3 favorite things about football. So
You know it, Bubba. You know it. Every drive should end in a kick. Every time.
Mac Brown says that.
Well, and the biggest misconception is that I'm all for analytics, which I'm not, and because I do when I play Madden, I do the or at least I used to. I don't as much anymore because Madden. I don't even play Madden anymore. But I used to like, especially playing against computer, run as much as possible. I barely pass, score before the half, score after the half, and then just maintain the lead and run the clock.
That's it. Pretty universally simple. Yeah.
Now, if you want to talk about someone who thinks completely different from all of us, then you're going real Wade.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like that.
I don't think it's analytics. I think it's just the fact that he doesn't like to fucking kick at all.
Yeah, no punts, no.
There is no kicker or punter on his team. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's something else.
But anyway, I think you saw last week the Buccaneers struggle to run the ball, and that's what the Lions are really good at is running the ball. But they're not so great against the pass. They have question marks out there in the secondary. And if Baker Mayfield continues to play the way he's playing, he can exploit that. So this, I think Detroit's going to win this game, but it's not going to be easy for them. I don't think this is going to be as easy as people think it's going to be for them.
I think Baker can make the plays. Can Mike Evans catch the ball?
Right. Can his receivers come up with the ball? Yeah. He has the same problem that Mahomes has in Kansas City. No doubt. His guys need to catch the ball. This guy's playing out of his mind. You need to start catching the ball. It's ridiculous, man.
Well, my mantra all season has been don't bet against the Detroit Lions. And I was only wrong 5 times.
Yep. Absolutely. You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they beat you guys on opening day when you were hanging your championship banner. Yep. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But they definitely winning last week was huge for that team. It really was. They are riding high right now. They really are. And if
I really like that this game is in Detroit too, because they killed it last week in that.
Yeah, they did.
That crowd killed it.
That crowd was something else. They had a 12th man effect.
They had people crying in the
stand. God.
You guys saw that photo of that guy that was balling.
It's been so long for them, and that's why I'm saying everybody's pulling for them. They really are. The only reason why I'm not pulling for them today is because I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. But I'm not going to be disappointed if they win at all. Actually, what I'd really love to see, because you guys know, the Niners are not my best friends, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of a rival of mine. If the Packers, who I can't stand either, but if they actually win and Detroit wins, how big is that game going to be next week?
Well, this is already
division rivals going at it.
Already the most expensive game right now? The most expensive ticket right now? I believe it is.
The Bucks Lions game?
Like yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
Of all the playoff games, this is the most expensive one right now.
And I think it may be the most expensive Lions ticket ever, of any year.
Yeah. And you got to remember,
so next year
there was a time there, they keep saying and not in 30 years, but they were in the playoffs almost every year back then.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name? It was the head coach that they'd always falter halfway through the season and they'd have to come back. Huh?
About the Lions?
Yeah.
Wayne Fonts?
Yes, Wayne Fonts.
Yeah.
Every year they kept calling him Methuselah because they kept writing him off halfway through the season, and they would go on a run at the end of the season and make the playoffs.
My brain kept saying the Fonts, and I was like, that's not right.
Hey,
Right?
although the Fonz did coach in the Waterboy, so you know.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes.
I think I saw somewhere they were like, well, if the Lions make the Super Bowl, they should sign Barry Sanders for a day and let him play it down.
For a day.
Yeah.
Let him get a ring, right? Damn it. That would be cool.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah,
I
me
would too, but I would have to say you have to include Calvin Johnson because they wasted his career.
Oh yeah, yeah. How cool was that to see
Stafford got his
Matthew
ring,
go and hug
right?
Calvin Johnson on the sideline? He was over on the Lions sideline before the game. That was cool as shit. I really loved that. That was cool. Okay, so who you guys taking in this one? You know, I got
Lions.
the Detroit Lions, but I'm not pulling for them. I'm pulling for Baker.
I've got the Lions.
Okay.
Anything that makes Joe less annoying is 100% for me. Because anytime I got to see that, anytime I got to see those damn Baker Mayfield gifts,
Love it.
That's why I'm glad Flacco Sans is gone.
Oh yeah, it's gone, dude. Yeah, that's history. Yep.
Sorry,
Okay.
man, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I'll go Detroit. You know, it's thinking about Detroit. Though, it's still a shame if Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders had not played for Detroit, they would have played probably a few more years.
Oh yeah.
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 But
absolutely.
It is what it is. But no, I'll go with the Lions.
Hey, the Lions have had a history of some great players. They really have. It's just they never have been able to put it together and go on a run.
Also,
and they
Calvin
have this
Johnson,
year.
They should go in the stat books and give him one more touchdown because that was the worst touchdown overturn I've ever seen. There was a play where it was a road game. I forget where, but Calvin Johnson catches a touchdown in the end zone, stands up with the ball, then the ball comes out incomplete.
Yeah.
The worst.
Dumbest thing ever. I saw that.
He caught it with one hand and he placed the ball on the ground to like center himself and then came up and then it came out, I guess. And then that was called.
The ball came out while he was standing up.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Dumbest play call ever.
Horrible. And if you saw some of Jerry Rice's touchdowns near the end of his career where he's rolling to catch it and just threw it on the ground, and you see that same play and you're like, well, they called this a touchdown. What the fuck? What do you, you know?
This is I know we don't have time for this, but that's one discussion that we could have one day is NFL versus college rules. I still don't like having to be touched down. I think if your knee hits the ground, you're down. But again, that's just me coming from a college guy. But anyway, that's for another day.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, last one of the week, we got John's beloved Kansas City Chiefs. And Mahomes has to do something he's not had to do yet. Win on the road in the postseason.
Yep.
Interesting. The Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, riding high.
Joe doesn't like Buffalo, so
no, I don't like Buffalo. Kansas City. Here's my problem. Kansas City can't catch the fucking football. This has the potential to look like the Keystone Cops. This whole game, it really does. Go ahead. Look, Kansas City should win this in a walk. Their defense is really good. I don't care that Buffalo's playing.
Well, I mean, I don't know about a walk because you're talking about Buffalo, who is.
I'm saying if they catch the passes, if they catch the passes, I'll take Patrick Mahomes in a duel with Josh Allen any day of the week. He's proven it. He's done it several times. But my whole issue with this is the fucking Chiefs receiving core. Good Lord. And John, I know, feels my pain. It's just,
Oh yeah,
it makes it hard to pick them. But my hope is that underrated defense of the Chiefs can make Josh Allen fuck up like he's known to do. You know, the problem is Cooks. That is the X factor to me. If the Chiefs do not contain Cooks and he gets 8 yards at a crack, you're gonna have a long day, John.
Yeah.
That's the guy that's got to be taken away, if you ask me. If I'm Belichick trying to find out what they do the best, every time I watch this team, he is gouging people. Gouging them. So, that's what I'd be hoping for. But man, woof. Did they catch the ball any better against Miami? Please tell me they did.
They
It
did.
was more like they went to Rice more.
Yeah, they did. They went to Rice more, and Rice catches the ball.
And they still had Kelsey, but Kelsey even dropped a few. But and
He dropped two.
He was mad at himself so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's 12 to 16 inches of
dropped some bad
snow.
ones.
There's 12 to 16 inches of snow on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
They've brought people in to dig the stadium out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
they're back at it again now.
Yeah, the temperatures. Yeah, because they had some snow like Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lightly snowing now, but the temperatures are going to be in the mid 20s, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, so not overly windy.
Mm-hmm. Both of these teams play in that though.
Yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
That's a non-factor if you ask me. I mean, all it's going to do is make the teams drop the balls a little bit more, and Kansas City, Lord knows, doesn't need that. I don't know, man. I think you just need to. I think Kansas City needs to game plan to attack the backfield, man. Attack the backfield. And
I think it's all going to depend on if the Bills can get Cook going or not.
Yeah. That's the factor,
that
right
might
there.
be I think that is the biggest factor because if you get Cook going, right, that stops Allen from making mistakes. But if you stop Cook, that has the potential of making Josh Allen make mistakes. So I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he doesn't want to throw against our secondary.
No,
we will take those balls away, or at least knock them away.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And and Diggs has, I don't know what's going on with that, but Diggs has just not been the same this year. And maybe it's just de-emphasizing him or something. I don't know what, but
ever since they got rid of Ken Dorsey, Diggs has fallen off.
Yep.
But Kincaid, though, that rookie tight end, he didn't.
Yes, he's coming on. He's catching a lot of balls. Yes,
he didn't win me my championships, but because for whatever
Also,
reason, for 2
name.
weeks they didn't throw to him. But
Dalton Kincaid.
Yes, that screams football, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was bred for that.
Sounds like a character from like North Dallas 40 or The Replacements.
It does. Absolutely, man. Okay, let's pick it. Look, I'm not going to curse the Chiefs. I'm taking the home team. Yeah. I'm going to say the home team because I don't want to curse the Chiefs. I really want the Chiefs to win this fucking game. I really do. I don't
want the Chiefs to win.
I'm a New England Patriots fan. I don't like this team.
I am rooting for any team that has not won a Super Bowl. I will always root for a team, unless it's my team. I will always root for the team. That goes for the Lions. I don't think there's any other.
I feel that way about the Lions.
But,
I hear you, but not this team. No.
But the Bills, I want them to get a Super Bowl. If it's Bills Lions, that would be the best case scenario for me. So that's how I'm going with this one. I don't want to see the Chiefs go on, and that's not just because they're division. It's because I don't want to see them in another Super Bowl or championship game. They're becoming Patriot status for me. So.
Oh, the Chiefs. Well, yeah, of course they are. They're the gun now. They've made the AFC Championship game 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And if they make it this time, if they win this game and get in it, it'll be 6 in a row.
I think what people need to realize is they were good before Patrick Mahomes got there.
Yeah, they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they started
like
winning on the headset. Yeah,
the Patriots would.
It was when Andy Reid got there. That's when they got good when Andy Reid was there. That got there.
Yeah, man.
I'm going Chiefs, but I don't feel confident about it. This is a tough one.
It is.
I don't have a good feel on this one.
Chiefs by 3 in the last 13 seconds of the game.
Oh, God. No, we need to get that new playoff rule. This needs to go to overtime so that the Chiefs go down and score, and then the Bills go down to score, and then
the Chiefs kick a field goal to
Field
win.
goal.
they get a field goal to win. Exactly. With exactly.
Just
second
just
overtime.
So, yeah.
Harrison butt kicker.
Yep.
Oh man, I tell you what, man, this Big Lummox, they changed the rules for him, and he's never. What is he? 0-6 in overtime games since they changed the rules for him.
Yep. He hasn't won an overtime game yet.
Well, I'm rooting for overtime then. Yes, he's proven he can fucking lose in overtime. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Oh, unbelievable. Well, all I know is this, boys and girls, it's going to be a fun weekend of football. I am off on a Saturday without taking vacation for the first time in probably 30 years.
Wow.
36 years, actually. Yeah. Long time. So
That's awesome.
I'm going to enjoy it.
Well deserved.
You should.
Yes. Yes. It only took me to the age of 58 to get where I could have Saturday and
I think
Sunday
you should
off.
find another job and do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I've already got another job. It's hanging out with you guys, man. But yeah, thoughts on either last round or this round? What are you looking forward to the most in this round?
Can the teams that pulled the upsets last round pull it off again?
And the funny thing is, I don't want them to. Like, I want the Ravens and 49ers to go on.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I'm pulling for Baker Mayfield, but I don't think he's going to make it. If Detroit wins that game, then I'm all in with Detroit the rest of the way. You know, It should be the Niners. It should be the Niners coming out of the NFC. Let's face it. They've proven all year they can smash you on both sides of the ball. But when you don't have a dog in the hunt, you're kind of rooting for the underdogs. You're kind of like Knox Point. I mean, if it wasn't the Bills, if it was the Cleveland Browns, I'd be pulling for them. Because they've never won a Super Bowl. The same thing. It's just.
Well, I guess you would call that Super Bowl underdog. I don't know if any of the teams. I didn't pick any underdogs in these games.
I feel like this year, I think the casual fans will be in the Lions camp.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's pulling for the Lions for sure in the AFC. Unless your team is Green Bay, San Francisco, or Tampa, I'm sure everybody that's an NFC fan is rooting for the Detroit Lions.
I'm saying if you don't have a team at all,
right,
the Lions are probably your team. Yep.
Right, absolutely. What do you think, Not? What's standing out to you in these games? What are you looking forward to the most?
Hopefully better tackling. Because legit in so many games last week, it was awful.
The number one teams in both these damn things are going to show you how to tackle today.
Yeah,
if
we could just get that, I'd be a lot happy. I noticed that way too much. That there was just no.
Oh my God, it was
no
horrible.
tackling.
It was showcased on the last game of the weekend on Sunday night. Yeah, good.
I will say there was one play with the Chiefs where Mahomes was going to slide, and he didn't, and he ran for another 15 yards, and I thought that was bullshit because the NCAA has gotten rid of that, and that should have been a penalty where he did a fake slide. He clearly was going to slide, and he's like, "Oh wait, they're not tackling me," and then he continued to run. That to me,
the guy that made
this was
questionable.
that. Yeah, it was clear as day that they were clearly slowing down. The defenders were slowing down
because they didn't want to.
They didn't want to get the penalty. It would have been tackling Mahomes when he's sliding.
I hear you.
Penalty.
I hear you.
And
that's why anytime I
down.
see those flags, for hitting quarterbacks late or whatever, I always tell people if I was the head coach, I would tell that guy when he came off the field, you just keep doing what you're doing. You just keep doing what you're doing. I don't want you to half step.
I get angry when it's a glancing blow off their shoulder or something,
right?
And they get flagged for it. It's like
that
person can't. Once they start the tackle motion, they can't make their body not go in that direction.
And it sounds like he took advantage of that mentality there.
Absolutely.
And you can't get mad at him for doing it. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
So
you want those guys to crush him. You want them to crush him, then get pissed off at the fucking NFL for throwing flags in those situations.
You mentioned a penalty in college for faking it. Kenny Pickett from the Pittsburgh Panthers, now Pittsburgh Steelers.
That was the most egregious one. Yeah,
he was notorious for doing it his last
that
year.
was the creator of the rule. That was the biggest
Yep.
game that they came with that year after that Kenny Pickett did it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
Don't
sounds
ever
like
trust
something
a
the
quarterback that
competition
wears gloves on
committee
both
need to
hands,
look
by
at.
the way.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah, looking forward to these games. Always fun talking it with you guys. Let's let you know what's going on with the channel before we get out of here. We'll be back to our regular time next week, by the way, guys. We will be back at 10 o'clock on Sunday. Okay, you guys don't forget, because we don't have any Saturday games next week. It's championship weekend. It'll be both games will be on Sunday. So be sure to tune in for that next Sunday for championship weekend at 10 a.m. Central Time. And then, of course, on Monday, I'll be on Military Monday with Gary. This week we're doing First Blood, and that's at 10 a.m. Central Time in the morning. And then at 4 p.m. Central Time in the afternoon on Monday, it's That 70s Rock Fans channel, and we're doing Cobra. I don't have the thumbnails for these, but just know that we're doing the movie Cobra. It's the Sylvester Stallone classic. You're the disease and I'm the cure guy. Yeah. And we'll be doing it at 4 p.m. Central Time on Monday. And then we'll have our first Brothers Hack the Matrix on Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to be a busy dude. I was already a busy dude on Monday. Now I'm going to be really busy on Mondays. The Brothers Hack the Matrix coming your way at a new time, 6 p.m. Central Time on Monday. And then Tuesday is going to be Papa Joe Gamer After Dark. Of course, video games, cocktails, and fails. And this week, we're going to be doing Rumble Roses, XX. We're going to have the jiggle factor in effect. A little female wrestling. Might even pull out the mud pit. If I can get the PS2 running, I might even pull out the original game and get the mud pit going. So that'll be fun. I'll be doing that at 10 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, one show that hasn't changed so far is State of the Atmosphere. We're still going to do the pop culture show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll give you a pop culture update, let you know what's going on in Hollywood and what's going on with your favorite shows and stuff. And then we'll be getting into our regular format like we used to. Probably, I want to finish the video game top 100, so we'll probably get back on that. If we can do it, we'll talk about the Beekeeper. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go or not, because I wanted to go this weekend, but we got so many games, man. I think I'm going to have a beer and watch the games. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But anyway, be sure to tune into that at 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening, State of the Atmosphere. So for myself, the Knoxter, Matt from Small Time Republic, and John Das Wolfen, we want to thank you guys for being here. And until we see you again, want you guys to keep on keeping on. God bless.